Hello guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Selena, and this video is a video that I've been wanting to make like since I started law school. Anyone can go to law school without doing any of this and still succeed. However, throughout my first year there were some things that I thought, well, I wish I knew this before I started law school. I wish I could have done this or that. That would have made the experience a little bit easier. So my first advice is knowing what you're gonna study. This might seem a bit weird, like I applied for law, I'm doing law. I know, but law is not the same everywhere. For example, in most European countries, you have codified books with all the law. I thought that was the case in the UK. It's not. The law in the UK and the law in the United States and some other countries, it's case law. That means that when you refer to most laws, they're like case law. You're like Brown and the state or something like that. As a law student, I'm a bit triggered that I didn't like cite a real case, because I should be able to cite a real case. I should be able to know many of them. If you're going to study law in the United Kingdom, you're going to study public law and you're going to study constitutional law, and they're going to talk a lot about the constitution. And let me warn you, there's no physical book saying Constitution with all the laws. No, it's case law as well, which means that the constitutional law in the United Kingdom is not written. You're gonna hear a whole semester on this, but like this type of important stuff that I felt like I should have known when I sat there in my first public law lectures, I was like, okay, I applied for this course and I had no idea of this, and like I didn't have to know, but like if you want to get ahead, these are important topics that you could do some research about and actually understand. My second tip is definitely getting used to the lingo. There's some keywords, key sentences that you're gonna hear all the time in law school, such as commercial awareness. They're gonna talk to you about this in casual conversations. I don't know how to do it. I have no idea what that means, but it was everywhere. But no one would care to define it. They would just discuss it, and I was like, If you're gonna study law, make sure you know what this means, because oh, it's everywhere, guys. It's really everywhere. But where do I learn about these things? Well, I can recommend you Legal Cheek, Target Jobs, Bright Networks. There were like 3 different websites that really helped me. My third advice is read cases. This is a bit complicated because I know there are a lot of cases which are not available to the public just to read like that. In university, we have access to LexisNexis through our university, so we don't have to pay to access the database with all the cases that you can think of. But I'm pretty sure you can find some cases online, and getting used to reading all of it, it's important, because when you start law school, they're going to give you so many cases to read, and it's going to be really hard to get used to reading that amount of cases. Personally, I can't read all of the cases they tell us to read. That's why Law Teacher is a lifesaver for me, and other websites which can give you an overview of the case. If you get to law school being able to read a case quite fast, that's gonna be such a huge advantage. My fourth advice is create LinkedIn. LinkedIn is gonna be so important for you because you're gonna meet so many people in law school, in events, in socials, in conferences, in lectures, etc, etc, etc. You're always gonna be meeting people, and networking is gonna be so important, so you can get the right connections that you can ask for advice and ask for help and just let them inspire you. Number 5 is important, because this is more like advice for when you start law school. If you're going to the UK, there's these books that I have. One is a loan from the library. I didn't buy it. The other one, it was gifted to me. I wouldn't personally buy it because you're only going to use it for a year. However, if you can financially buy it, just do it. But if you can't afford it, because law books can be quite expensive, you can loan it from the library. Most libraries have these kind of books, and they were my lifesavers on my first year. Literally, I got a first because of these books. Obviously because of the hard work as well, but like these books played a huge part in breaking in small pieces hard information and things and concepts that I couldn't really understand and turning them into something very easy, something that I could work with. These books are so worth it. Number 6, Untitled Chapter has these virtual programs which are like law internships, but they're online and they're all like hypothetical scenarios, but you're actually doing the work that a lawyer does in a law firm. And at the beginning it was so hard for me to do it, but as soon as you get used to it, when you start like doing many internships, in the end you just know what type of work you're doing, you understand, you try new areas, you understand which areas you like the most in law, which is going to be very important because in network events they're going to ask you quite often, so which area of law are you interested in practicing? My first ever event with a law firm, that was the first thing they asked me, and I was like, I've been in law school for 2 weeks, I really have no idea. I don't know. So these programs are going to be a huge help for you to understand which type of law you're more into. Number 7, I feel like I wish I had done this before, because in my first year, as soon as you start, you're already applying for open days and workshops and programs with law firms, and I had no idea that there were like different types of law firms. There was this whole world that I didn't understand, and I was expected to be already like applying for stuff, and I couldn't do that if I didn't understand what were the differences between the law firms, and how was I going to do an application on why do you want to come to this law firm to do this program if I didn't know the reason. I just wanted some work experience. Like, it's daunting. So before starting your first year, if you want to do some research to understand what type of law firms are there, what type of work they do, just like starting to navigate in this world which is so complex, that's going to be a huge help in your first year. Number 8, get that summer job, get that work experience. If you're someone that has never worked, trust me, that summer job is going to be really helpful in terms of money. You're going to be able to have some financial independence, and you're going to get that work experience which is relevant because it's going to give you the skills that you want to put in your application. You don't need to have work experience in law. Whatever work experience that you have is still work experience. Number 9, work on your time management. Like I've said in the beginning, you're going to have tons of cases to read. Sometimes it's going to be hard to do all of it. There were a lot of readings that I couldn't do simply because I just didn't have the time. I wanted to have a social life as well, and to be completely honest with you guys, I barely had a social life and I couldn't do all the readings. So getting your time management skills is going to be crucial so you can have personal life, social life, academic life, work life, romantic life. My last tip, tip number 10, is practice your writing skills, structure skills, grammar skills, like all of that. All of that is going to be so important, especially if your first language is not English like me. So yeah, I really hope you succeed in law school. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.